Thank you. Buen día. Did I say it correctly? Did I say it correctly? ¿Cómo están? Hi, everyone. So it's an honor. Thank you, team from Sensedia, for inviting us to tell what's happening in Colombia, to tell what we're doing in Bancolombia. We're very proud of what's happening in Colombia. It's an open banking boom. It's a banking as a service boom. And we have learned from you guys here from Brazil what you guys have done in this country, and it's just outstanding. Thank you for having me here. So let's talk about ecosystems, a banking constant evolution. So first, let me tell you about Bancolombia. Bancolombia is the largest bank in Colombia. We have over 29 million customers. We have around 30,000 employees. We are listed in the New York Stock Exchange, and we are seeking for a sustainable growth, sustainable economy. What we do every day, this is our purpose. And I guess you have read about how companies drive towards a purpose. And this is our purpose. We promote sustainable development for everyone's well-being. From a bank teller to the C-suite, this is what we do every day, okay? So that's Bancolombia, largest bank in Colombia, and we have presence in more than 5 countries. Let's talk about ecosystem, and let's give you a context. This is a slide from our friends of McKinsey. And they tell us how the economy has shifted business models. From the 1900s to the 2000s, there were business models focused on products. Then, from the 2000s to the 2020s, economy, business model based in services, business model based in platforms, Ubers, Amazon, Facebook, and so on. And what they say and what we have seen around the world is, from the 2020 onwards, business based in ecosystems. And when we talk about ecosystems, we say that that are interconnected services in an integrated experience. It doesn't matter what industry you are in. This is a slide from MIT. By the way, MIT did a research about how Bancolombia was evolving the business model based on ecosystem. So I'm going to point out this is a slide from MIT. They say, hey, let's move from an industry mindset towards an ecosystem mindset. And when we say ecosystem mindset is from a customer, with seeing a customer as a source of income, as seeing the ecosystem as the source of income. From focusing on products to focusing on end-to-end solutions. From talking about segments to talking about journeys, end-to-end journeys. Industry alliances, moving towards industrial alliances outside the industry. And this is very important. Data as the path of consumer value, as data as the source of value. So please see how we are moving towards an ecosystem business model, independently of what industry you are in. This is what Bancolombia has done throughout the years, building our own ecosystem, building an ecosystem when we share value, building an ecosystem where we are in the mobility ecosystem, housing ecosystem, consumer and day-to-day ecosystem. And please check the left-sided outlines. 1, it's multi-industry solutions. You don't see industry here. You just see path. Connected solutions. Data moves throughout the ecosystem. 4, and in an open banking boom, this is very important. Build for competition. And 5, immersed in everyday life. So we're going to elaborate in this 30 minutes that we have here, how we have built the ecosystem in which customers can find housing, customers can find mobility, customers can find embedded finance and banking as a service. Basically, if I will have to summarize the entire presentation in one slide, this will be the slide. So please check it out. Number one, banking as a platform. In our proprietary channels, in our own channels, how we serve from financial services to non-financial services. So that's why we're inviting merchants, car dealers, housing builders, every type of company to come to our channel and distribute your services, distribute your products within the Bancolombia environment. Number two, banking as a service. How do we provide financial services in third-party channels? Through API technology. And three, capability as a service. How we provide infrastructure, how we provide technology to financial companies, to fintechs, to startups, for them to embed financial services and move towards a new financial environment. Let's talk about banking as a platform. This is the housing ecosystem. We call it the housing marketplace and the housing environment. So we're going to check this video, 30 seconds. Tu 360 Inmobiliario is the marketplace in which customers and non-customers can find houses, new or used, and apply for an online mortgage loan. We understood something. People don't dream about a mortgage. They dream about a house. So that's the huge difference in thinking about ecosystem. And when we invite builders and when we invite housing companies to come on board our Tu 360, our marketplace, and by the way, it's a Vitex. We partnered with Vitex. This is a Brazilian company that we have done it really well. And Vitex has grown like exponentially as you have seen, like how these guys were listed in the New York Stock Exchange. So housing ecosystem. You know how many houses we have sold in Tu 360 Inmobiliario in 24 months? 3,000 houses. And when we started, people said, hey, a bank selling houses? A bank selling cars? Sounds weird. But I trust that company. But I trust that brand. So let's give it out. And when we merge mortgages and assets, this is what happens. Remember, end-to-end solutions. So let's move towards the next video. We have the housing ecosystem, but we also have the mobility ecosystem. You can find bicycles, you can find cars, you can find electric cars, you can rent a car within the banking app, within the banking system, within the banking web app, banking web solution. People don't dream about car loans. People dream about bicycles, cars, mobility, from moving to point A to point B. That's what we do in Tu 360 Movilidad, where we have sold more than 2,000 cars. And there are not our cars. There are the ecosystem cars, the car dealers, the partners. So then we start growing as a mobility ecosystem. We invite third parties to partner with us within our own channels. And last but not least, is the consumer marketplace. Next video, please. So we sell here Apple devices. We sell here Sony devices. We sell here Samsung devices. And you apply for a consumer loan. And you apply for a credit card. Same rationale. People don't dream about consumer loan. They dream about a cell phone, a technological device, everything, right? This is how we are evolving. We can move on. This is how we are evolving the banking as a platform business. Okay? Oh, we also have travel agents. We partner with Despegar, which is one of the largest travel companies in digital travel companies in Latin America. And we have the entire solution for the travel industry. So once you go to the banking app, hey, you can do a transaction, yes, but you can also buy a ticket. You can also buy a car. You can also buy a bicycle. That's how we're doing it. This is the current commercial, TV commercial that we have online in Colombia, so I wanted to share it with you. Go ahead. It's in Spanish. My apologies.
En tu 360 de Colombia encuentras viajes, casas, carros. Y me prestan para todo eso. Aquí también.
¿Y le asesoran?
Sí, aquí también. En tu 360 de Bancolombia te acompañamos desde que lo quieres hasta que lo tienes.
So check the key features. Can I get a loan? Yes. Can I get advisory? Yes. Can I buy X or Y asset? Yes. End-to-end solutions. That's how we're building the housing, mobility, and consumer ecosystem. So in summary, for the banking as a platform model, we are sharing value. That's the key sentence. If Bancolombia is the most reputable brand, the most recognized brand in Colombia, how can we share that equity with our partners? If Bancolombia has more than 20 million customers in Colombia, how can we share that database with our partners? If Bancolombia has a digital traffic of more than 20 million visits and more than 8 million active app users, how can we leverage the businesses of our partners to grow with us? If 51% of the transactions, of digital transactions in the banking industry go through Bancolombia channels, how can we personalize much better for the third parties to convert better? Sharing value. That's how we grow the ecosystem. That's how we invite third parties to onboard in our channels on their own marketplace. Banking as a platform. Let's go for banking as a service. How it all started. And this is a wonderful journey. And I'm representing thousands of developers, hundreds of employees that have done this work very well in Bancolombia. 5 years ago, we empowered teams. We empowered products. We empowered several areas of the bank to build their own APIs. This morning, Forrester was talking about the federated governance model. That's how we did it 5 years ago. We empowered teams to build their own APIs. Yes, it has challenges, definitely, but we have moved faster than we thought. We view APIs as products. This is very important. How we enable them, how we support them, how we have documentation around the APIs. What's the responsibility of you launching an API and sustaining the API in time? And last part, creating this API capability within the organization, internal APIs, leverage the open APIs model. So once we were ready internally, during 4 years of work, then we were ready to launch a banking as a service model, then we were ready to launch an open banking model. Check this out. We were very surprised because we were gathering this data for this presentation. We have 42 external APIs, 89 third-party providers connected, and throughout this year, we have had 83 million API calls. In a humble matter, we were surprised of how this is exponentially growing. And not for Bancolombia only, because every API calls when we enable third parties to grow as well. And that's our purpose, like the whole ecosystem, how the entire ecosystem grows. And not only Bancolombia, the entire financial industry. We would love to see our colleagues from other banks having this kind of API calls, because that's when financial inclusion happens. Check this out. Our bet is to empower any company to become a fintech. Let me say it again. To empower any company to become a fintech. Sounds weird, right? But if they use our infrastructure, if they use our own APIs, if they're enabling their business based on our infrastructure, then we are all growing. 85% of the payments in Colombia happen by cash. That's not a a key figure that we should be proud of. And if we collaborate with fintechs, if we collaborate between the financial industries, financial colleagues, then financial inclusion will happen. Then financial will evolve. The financial system will evolve in Latin America. I'm not talking only about Colombia. We as a Latin American region should see this mindset, should foresee this mindset, how we collaborate to have a better region in the world. These are the first banking as a service products that we launched in the last 12 months. So we have the digital wallet. Any startup can download the APIs, can integrate their APIs and build their digital wallet. Consumer loan as a service. Buy now, pay later APIs. QR code payments. This has been an explosion. Like how third parties, how startups, they integrate APIs of the QR code payments and enable more than 15 million users to pay into their merchants. And the capability as a service that I mentioned before. So what we're doing with the digital wallet is we're allowing third parties to become a bank under their own experience, right? Banking as a platform, we're on the front. Banking as a service, we're behind based on API technology. Well, those are the features, and we will keep evolving the features, cash in, cash out, QR code payments. We're going to see an experience. Oh, first, let me share an example of how APIs are consumed and exposed between the TPP and the bank. In the blue line, you can see the TPP. In the yellow line, it's Bancolombia. So this is the onboarding journey. When you are enabling a customer, then the TPP calls our APIs and moves toward authentication, terms and condition acceptance, OTP validation, and then account linking. So this was basically an example of how we interact with our TPPs based on APIs. This sounds simple, I know, but it has done a very, very much huge effort. How do we create these APIs? How do we sustain these APIs? And how we make it simple for TPPs to understand our marketplace, API marketplace. Do we have the video of the wallet? Yes. This is Puntos Colombia, largest loyalty program in Colombia. 2 weeks ago, they launched Puntos Pay. So what basically they're doing is they're enabling their millions of customers to pay with Puntos Pay, mixing points and cash, and digital cash. So you want to buy a ticket, you want to buy Netflix, you want to buy Spotify, you can mix points plus cash. And you can see, it's all Puntos Colombia experience, but they're consuming our digital wallet APIs. This has been great since 2 weeks, because when people understand, and Brazil has a very mature industry in terms of loyalty programs, when you mix points and cash, people feel they are acquiring, they're enhancing their capability of acquisition, right? So that was an example that we wanted to share with you. And the APIs are there, my friends. If you want to build around our digital wallet APIs, it's all in the marketplace. Consumer loan as a service, same stuff. We allow third parties to integrate our consumer loan APIs so they can provide to their customer a better experience. If they don't want to pay with credit card, if they don't want to pay with an account to account, they want to have their own consumer loan. They want to disburse a consumer loan, they can do it under their own brand. Also, because we have 20 million customers, the pre-approved loans that we have in the bank, we share it with our TPPs. There's an animation of the consumer loan. Can you help me here? Okay. Buy now, pay later as a service. Same stuff. We provide an alternative for consumers to integrate with buy now BNPL APIs in their checkout as the consumer loan. So there are several options for the merchant to convert. There are several options for financing. There are several options for loans. This is when we enable the merchant ecosystem to grow with us. QR code payments. It all started as a closed loop in Colombia, and now we're moving towards an interoperability QR code ecosystem. We started with physical QR codes, and then we moved towards APIs of QR code. So TPPs can integrate a QR code API to be part of the largest network of acceptance in Colombia. This is how we have grown the QR code ecosystem. It's a closed loop so far. In 4 weeks, we're going to be part of the interoperability system in Colombia. So we're doing currently 8 million transactions in small amount of payments. 1.1 million merchants have enabled the QR code and have become part of the largest acceptance payment network in Colombia. 34% are the current POS devices in the country. 19% of other QR codes of other colleagues from the financial industry and fintechs, and 47% of the points of sale of the merchants are within the QR code ecosystem of Bancolombia. And when you say a fintech, hey, you want to integrate the APIs of Bancolombia QR code to become part of this ecosystem, it goes as fast as possible. It's kind of a fixed business model that you guys have here, but it's a closed loop. Then we're moving to an interoperable system in 4 weeks. Same rationale. What we're doing here. We have invested a lot in cybersecurity. We have invested a lot in data protection. So we're sharing that value. We're sharing the investments, the security assets with our TPPs. We have matured the API creation. We have matured the API talent. So we make it easier for third parties to integrate with us. And we are increasing maturity in cloud solutions. So the business models have more scalability and availability for those who consume us. Let's move towards open banking and capability as a service. As I told at the beginning, Colombian regulation, it's under construction. We are now building the standards, security standards, integration standards, and so on. And we have a very good regulator who balances between the financial industry, the fintechs, and the third parties. We are under construction of an open data regulation. And this, we believe, as the largest bank in Colombia, that we are going to empower data usage for financial inclusion. Our strategy here is going to be, we're going to expose our APIs, we're going to orchestrate third-party APIs, and we're going to consume APIs, both data and services. What are the first banking APIs that we're going to be releasing this year? Account ownership, account balance, transaction history, and payment initiation services. Colombia, for the ones who want to do businesses across Brazil and Latin America, Colombia is in a boom because regulators, financial industry, fintechs, and third parties are aligned towards the same goal, financial inclusion. One month ago, we were the first bank in Colombia to drive open banking for financial well-being within our app, within our PFM. Our customers can now aggregate the data history, the financial history, the movements, the transactions, and the balances of other banks in our PFM. Yes, it's not done entirely through APIs. Some of them are done through web scraping, but we believe is the first step towards the business model based on APIs. So we are helping our customers to drive their financial well-being towards banking aggregation. And last but not least, the developer experience. Our API marketplace, we seek for everyone to access our API marketplace. Remember this phrase that I recently said? We want every startup to become a fintech. Our fundamentals around our API marketplace: integration and automation, good documentation, stability, self-service and available support, and the community creation. That's how we are evolving and scaling API business models. In summary, guys, a bank that orchestrates comprehensive experiences through banking as a platform, a bank that enables third parties to create their own financial business models through APIs, and an open bank that empowers users for the data usage. It's an ecosystem, not an ecosystem. Thank you.
I am sure everyone was inspired as much as I was, what you've done and the vision of bringing that value and helping your consumers and your customers be more sustainable.
That's correct.
Is amazing. Muito obrigado. We do have a couple of questions for you. And the first one, Luis Miguel, what is the next frontier for Bancolombia? Can you share with us what maybe might be the next industry for your platform strategy?
Well, we have to keep developing our current platform. We have to keep developing our current API capability. And there's a phrase that I like, and it's in Spanish, is hacer lo básico bien, do the basics well done. So we're going to keep doing the basics well done in terms of banking as a service, open banking, and banking as a platform model.
Fabulous. And the next question, how do you and your team at Bancolombia foster API consumption? How are you promoting those APIs?
Well, first of all, with this kind of events, we are sharing news that we are enabling APIs to be consumed. We are communicating with the Startups Association. We have a close relationship with the FinTech Association in Colombia, so they can consume us. So that's our priority. How can the market, the FinTechs and the startups get to know that we are ready for an open banking model?
Excellent. And I got to say, I'm going to close with your line. It's about ecosystems, not egosystems.
That's correct.
It was muy importante. Muchas gracias.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Excellent session. Please give it up for Luis Miguel. We're going to switch rooms now. If you're part of our global experience and going to stay, we'll just be a couple of minutes and we'll get ready for the panel. Open banking. What does Brazil, Colombia, and the U.S. have in common? And I think that Luis Miguel's session sets us great up for that panel. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes.